Welcome back, everybody. Where our two teams tied for first are about to face off. It's TSM Academy versus Cloud9 Academy. Crumbs, the game we have been waiting for, is here.
We have definitely been waiting for it, Raven. Not the first time either, because the first time we waited for this one, both teams were on a 5-game win streak. Cloud9 was 5-3, TSM was 7-1, but they had treats. And the story of the game really came down to the Camille. Just like our last game, Fudge had a pop-off performance, and TSM had a really difficult time being able to execute the Wukong Senna. They were trying something new. You can't blame them. Lots of teams around the world have been experimenting with it. Unfortunately, it wasn't the game for them, and C9 looked to definitely stamp their seal of dominance on the league until they ended up dropping a bunch more games, and we find ourselves once again tied with TSM.
I mean, look at this. Just look at this. The records there. You're like, oh, okay, these teams may meet somewhere in the playoffs, but not before. No, before the playoffs. And, you know, people saying TSM has gotten weaker without treats now. Will they be able to be better? I think Bifrost still has quite a bit to offer, but treats is a playmaker in a lot of minds here. So maybe there are some shoes to be filled.
If not better, you definitely know the treats lost lineup was better just from having more time together. So a stronger bottom lane for TSM is no longer there, so they have to get used to that. And then the champion pool difference is also showing up. And particularly the big champion for Bifrost has been Bard, being able to play make on this champion. The only wins are on the Bard, and not able to fill in Treats' shoes of Braum. Who would have thought, though, that Braum is actually somewhat difficult to play? Not many people, but he actually takes skill, believe it or not.
Gotta get up there and just hold the shield, right? No, actually, it's very easy to get yourself killed when you're trying to be the first one in front. And looking at what else has happened here, you were saying the Bard, a few losses on the Braum. Maybe he can start to open up that champion pool, as we have seen a bit more from others. And 10.15, maybe a change for him as well. And they almost got stomped by Chronologic Gaming, basically lost in draft first dig. So things need to change, I guess, from the beginning as they come in.
That was the game that we showed in our previous match to highlight CLG's compositions. And the thing that showed that CLG did here, TSM, is that this composition doesn't have a way of engaging, really. You have Braum. It's a lot of carries. You have 4 carries. Too many. Too many carries. You never go 4 carries. 3 at the most.
You never go full carry.
Exactly. Never do that. 3 max, and that's if you got some really talented carries. 2 is usually the norm. And
so what's the reason overall? Just to kind of
if you have too many carries, the carries are the ones that are providing all the damage. So damage can't exist without utility. Utility sets you up for dealing the damage. So if you don't have anybody to set you up, you've got a bunch of damage dealers just not being directed into where they should be going or starting fights. So you need people that can start fights and set you up to just nail it home, and that's why you need utility, tanks, or just something to make those damage dealers a more well-rounded champion.
Sounds like a volleyball team. So you got a setter, you got a spiker, you serve up, everything. And we see C9's objective control as well, as they have been quite a team here, controlling Heralds, Drakes, Barons, and Souls. There's a first on that Soul as well, a first on that Drake, so you can see how much controlling these is their win condition.
I love the name. They just have 10 Souls. That's what they've gotten.
Boom.
It's the most powerful dragon of them all, so... Is it the most powerful? No, Elder's still stronger.
That's true. Yeah. I basically thought you were talking about others, like Elder Soul. Yeah, that is the strongest one. I would love to actually see this game get to an Elder, but more so that they're able to tempt each other into a final one. Not so much somebody's cleaned up every objective, and the Elder is theirs, forcing the final fight of the game. Let's get multiple Elders. Let's get everything we can. Let's ramp this game up to 12. 11's not even an option. We're going to pick some bands here for TSM Academy versus Cloud9 Academy for first place.
Global's taken out. No Galio, no Twisted Fate despite the nerfs. And if the trend continues, And boy, I think it's going to continue for all this week. We might just have
Yep.
a ton of set priority here. I think these teams are going to look for it. Palafox and Evolved won't be strangers to playing that champion. Pretty easy to execute, and worst comes to worst, Inori or Winston will be glad to take it up, especially if Foley Bear gets removed.
So why isn't the set ban worth it? Does it leave something else up that's too priority?
So it's not that it's weird, because if you ban Set, you don't actually know what you're banning because of how flexible he can be. So you ban him, right? And if they take it, then you also don't know what's going on. So you can ban Set, but you have no certainty of what the enemy is going to do with it. And that ambiguity being so large, it doesn't feel nearly as good as knowing, hey, you banned Twisted Fate, you know exactly what this champion was going to do. And so you ban Set. Okay, did you ban it from the mid laner? Did you ban it from the support? What pool are you affecting really with this ban?
Makes a lot of sense, especially when it's so early and everything and you haven't seen anything. And there is the pickup, because you don't know where it's going. You can't see him. You can't. But they have focused a bit of the globals, and then it went down towards the bot lane after the jungle. They've actually both banned the same lanes right through the first phase. Volibear is finally left up in our third game of the day, and it looks like it is quickly a priority pickup here for Cloud9 Academy, as Inori now decides, is it going to be a support? They don't show if that's a top or a jungle right away. Zoe mid. They just sweep it out from Evolved in probably what would have been a 2-3 pick here for TSM Academy.
Wow. Okay, so TSM Academy now is forced to show somewhat of their hand. Are they going to take the set into the mid lane right now? Because you can get by with picking your mid laner before C9 gets the target ban. Instead, they're going to double down on the bot laner. This, to me, sways Set a little bit more for mid lane Set, just because they had an opportunity to take a champion into the Zoe right away, knowing that there won't be any bans towards the mid coming through. So I think Evolved is going to be playing the Set, but we also don't know what the heck is going on with the Cloud9 bot lane, because this Senna could be AD Senna, could be support Senna, and those two bring so many options with them.
Yeah, I think we saw Mash the other week going AD. I believe it was him. Orianna gets banned out, knowing you don't want to get into any shockwaves that are completely turning fights here. Another global. Galio's already banned. We did see the Shen come in that Cloud9 game.
He did get buffed, so he's a little bit stronger now. So
Also global?
Definitely won't be surprised to see a little bit more Shen. Not a lot of targets that go in as quickly as Shen with the man, but definitely some playmaking. And
right.
These two bans from Cloud9 Academy are just getting rid of the scaling options for TSM.
And the Nautilus. All right. Let's see what else they have here. Tomo now picking number 4 for C9 on red side.
Really could be so much here. You could go Karma and go with that kind of lane, kind of pokey, disengagey. You could go Leona. You could just go Blitz. And now you have Bubble into Hook, which could be pretty fun. Same thing with the W from Senna. Instead, it's going to be TK and just deny the Ashe entirely. Not what we saw coming, but hey, it's a strong lane. It's just not the most engaging until level 6 where they get that global.
Yeah.
Semi-global.
Nobody would engage Tom Kench. Ooh, I was wondering where Gragas went. TBH, man. He's not been in the plays. We've had a lot of fights that could use a reset, and it would be okay. And I think you're going to get that back with the cask. So you have an arrow, split the team, finish him off as Evolved takes the Aurelia. Maybe.
It could be Dokla as well. I think Dokla's played some Aurelia lately.
Yes, he has.
Yeah, so he might be the one feeling it here. It's tricky, though,
Set
because
3 in a row in mid.
there is not a lot of wave clear on the side of TSM, so they're going to definitely need to get ahead early. And the Gragas is one good way to do it. I'm pretty sure he's going to be running Predator, and Gragas got buffed, and so did Predator.
See what Winston can put up here. Winston did jump himself onto that Samsung SSD quite quick the other week and then was pushed out. So we'll see if he can get some gameplay that puts him back onto that list. Crumbs, I'm excited to see what our first place teams have for us here, especially what the beginning of their splits were. Diamond was out on social media kind of saying that we're going to get back in here and just smurf on everybody. He had a little Acadian vibe going on there. Wasn't any peasants involved. But other than that, it was surprising to see that kind of fall from grace to start things off. But now both teams riding the ship, as I think we expected C9 too, but TSM is more wowing people here as they're able to keep this consistency and just show up for Academy.
And these champions will definitely wow us. If Evolve can have a great showing on the Aurelia, this team just added a new dimension of how they can play, which is exactly what they need when they're figuring out how Biofrost is going to integrate into the team. Because they've got those late game fights down, but can the early game be snowballed through a matchup as volatile as an Aurelia lane? Stay tuned and find out, because we know it's the first time he's playing it.
Right, and we saw what happened when the lanes weren't snowballed during objective fights for CLG last game. They weren't able to control those objectives, so it's going to be big, as you're saying, to keep those lanes on lockdown even more so. We are going to be stepping away to build a game delay, but don't go anywhere. We are going to have this first place matchup for you from the start when we return. Hello, everybody. We are back for the first place game. Welcome back to Week 8 Academy. Riven Crumbs here, still delivering some games before Pastry takes over with Crumbs and delivers you a delicious rest of the day. I had to get a pastry pun in there somewhere. But we are about to get into TSMA versus Cloud9A, and both of these teams feeling good as they come into this portion of the split. We're at Week 8, so every win really matters here. They're going to be towards the top of the standings, Crumbs, at this point, but I feel like they want to get that first place back, especially from the side of C9.
It's a big deal getting that first place here, not only for the records, but also to establish that dominance. If C9 can get that 2-0, you feel so good going into playoffs, knowing that the second place team, you have that head-to-head over. So it's a big deal there. And for TSM, they really need this, not only for the records, but to say that, hey, we're actually back on track despite losing trees. We can quickly recover in. I like that they've put more emphasis on that recovery on the solo lanes. Let's see what Dokla and Evolve can do, particularly Evolve. I think a lot of eyes are going to fall on the mid lane here with the Aurelia buffs into a matchup like Zoe that was taken to deny him. He had the counter pick, has gone with this one.
Yes, I love that you brought that up. I love it. And also just the names you put there in kind of a square, Dokla, Evolved, Palafox, and Fudge. 3 of those, as we saw, were on our players to watch here. So, yeah, Dokla definitely has his work cut out for him to take down Fudge, and Palafox versus Evolved is just going to be awesome to watch.
It's always exciting to watch those really intensely skilled matchups, whether it's through the skill shots or Aurelia's trying to get the resets on her blade surges or through her ultimate as well. Whatever Aurelia does, it's always really flashy. I think it's just part of the champ because when you play it, you feel like you're doing a lot more than you really are, but you're
supposed to be dancing on blades, right? It's kind of the idea. You're dancing around. So
feels like you're dancing on your opponent, so you got to have good emotes if you're going to do that.
That too. That too. I like it. They approach the mid lane. So Palafox out to the beach today, just somersaulting around. Evolved coming dressed in battle armor. Okay. And we'll see how this one starts off. So back to the Gragas.
Whoa. No emote? Crying Amumu?
I mean, it's not new. That was one of their Reggies.
Why is he sad?
I don't know. Why is he sad? Okay. Boom, boom, playing on his tongue.
Maybe he didn't want to play set. He wanted Winston to take it.
Yep. Sad day. He's like, you could have been this. So Lost returns the lane. Looks like they left him up there quick just to see if Red Invade was coming. Nothing happened in there. Everybody's playing very, very safe here on this game to start things off, giving a good amount of respect over, but also just not wanting to have anything affect the laning phase right away. Bot side will get a little bit of help, and Dokla's going to help Winston. Nice guy, Dokla, throwing a few punches for him.
Love getting set to leash for you. His Q is fantastic for it. Actually, whatever spell he throws out for your leash is the best. I think second best is Aatrox. No, Set is huge because he doesn't spend mana, so he doesn't really show anything. And with Aatrox, the sweet spot is also a really big deal with his Q. So I just love having leashes from champions that don't spend resources. That is the first Q that players look for on who did what. Did they have lesser mana, lesser HP? HP you can definitely mess with. If somebody commits to the act, spends mana and HP to fake out a leash, you get points for that, but it's not ideal.
We don't see that often, right? It's like everybody approaches lane, maybe a few times. But yeah, I definitely know people do that. Wait, don't go yet. We have to act like we're pulling. Now use mana. Oh wow, nice dash forward. Flawless Duet's gonna lock down, but he may not have the skills. He doesn't have his W for the resistances of the Defiant Dance, and it's going to be Evolved going down immediately within a cannon wave.
That's Inori changing his route up, does a straight blue into mid lane gank exactly at the time where Evolved was going for the gank. And the unfortunate part is this flash. Right, you flash when the auto was mid-air, and you know you're going to get hit by it anyways. Gets a little emote out at the end, and now they're looking for revenge for Pal.
Oh, wow. Going in real quick, bubbled him immediately for no follow-up, and flash for flash. Fast fingers. Palafox still has one on deck as well if he needs to use it, but he was ready for that, you could tell.
Super worth it there. And now TSM gets to maybe make a play onto the bottom lane. This bot lane could be really weak, especially this early on. They don't, not even level 3. We don't know what skills they've got.
Winston low. They are trying. TSM is kind of forcing themselves to try to get a kill here with C9 maybe getting that first one. They should be able to take down Diamond at least. Tomo, he's going to be left to his own devices, and bam, the haymaker coming across from Dokla. Okay, TSM, That looked like old TSM where you had turret swaps and they just waited for you to wither away under your turret. They wanted that bad.
I just got goosebumps, Riv. That was beautiful. That was so good from TSM. Like, I cannot believe these are the plays we're seeing in Academy, not LCS. Like, this is so good. You know in Nori's top side, you've got the teleport on the minion to keep them low. You have a huge level and player lead. And then look at the juggling of the turret aggro. It's so nice. Dokla takes one last shot through the Haymaker turret and then flashing away to not only hit the sweet spot, but get away from the turret and de-aggro it. Just beautiful stuff out of my, oh my god. I'm fanboying here for how good that was. Like, teams need to go for that every time it's available.
And you have to rely on everybody to be doing the right thing. Hesitation is what makes that not work, and everybody on TSM was all in. Dokla back to lane here to clean up a huge minion wave that will easily put him back on par with his lane opponent Fudge. And that's great. Fudge, you know, didn't have much to teleport to with it being on the turret. No real ward to get to without being far from the team. And fast acting from Dokla to be right in there. It would have had to be a minion for Fudge to teleport to, and then he would have gotten collapsed on as well. So quick stuff, quick thinking. TSM pulls a 2-1 lead here, but the gold's still in favor of C9 as the lanes are still playing out.
They got to catch up in farm, especially in the mid lane. The damage of that early gank was still felt, so Evolve needs to claw back into this game despite not having those assists. And on the flip side, though, now you can feel the tempo, if you will. Tempo being almost like if you were to play 1 for 1. One goes for a play, the other one goes for another.
Right hit
now,
for hit.
Exactly, hit for hit. It's time for C9's play, which big damage.
Oh,
yikes. Oh, boy. The play was to get Dragon, but they just found another one just from a 1v1 outplay.
Proto Belt. Oh, my word. Follow-up damage after follow-up damage. Palafox coming in, taking advantage of the 1v1 in mid. And like we were saying, they'll go for the 1-for-1. Palafox does there. No mana. He's still going to just hang out in the face of Winston, knowing can't fight back. Oh, he gives him a little raspberry on the way out. You got to love Zoe. It is a champion that will get in your head even if the person's not emoting.
It's already in Evolve's head. I've gotten that Proto Belt, dying to that early gank, and now Zoe picked up a redemption. That wasn't enough.
Oh, man. How unlucky. Oh, my word. 20 CS lead coming in as well in that mid lane, and one we're going to be watching for quite a while. It does hurt Aurelia needing to dive into the fight with Vanguard's edge and be able to mark targets and stay there to build up your pass. Like, you can't be below, you can't be behind, and right now he's going to start eating paddles all day from Palafox.
We have seen somebody else be in this position on Aurelia in Academy. It's been Giyu, might be dying a few times early, but he still finds a way to be hyper-aggressive.
That's true. One of his early games we saw him on, even one of the first, I think, they were Nectar or the Aurelia, yeah.
So it is possible for Evolve to have seen how the Aurelia can be played from behind and still be relevant. A big part of it will come down to CCing the squishy targets like the Zoe or the Senna, because the damage is almost always there. It's just her survivability, which is so important for her diving into these high damage targets.
There's a few divers, so if Dokla's creating the chaos, throwing someone around, Evolve gets free hits on somebody to start and then gets to head into the fight nice and charged up. If you can hit a good flawless duet, jumps around freely. Dokla here against Fudge, 57-55, as this lane's going pretty even, but good to see Dokla be able to keep up on CS and ahead a little bit in CS. If this clears out the way it does, with having to teleport to another lane. A kill and assist in his favor, and the Ninja Tabi's in Scepter just allow him to go toe-to-toe with Fudge, something you don't like to do early with a Wukong, especially with TMA so quick.
Yeah, those Scepters, I think, are telling the story of what the mid-game is supposed to look like for
Evolved, yeah, Evolved too.
The 2 Blades of the Rune King, actually make that 3, because Lost is probably going to Blade of the Rune King as well. So you're going to have 3 Blades, lots of life steal, lots of chase potential, but more importantly, very strong 1v1 potential for these melee champions in the side lane. So TSM, once they hit that spike, should try to get a lot stronger of a grip in the vision on the sides of the map, but instead, a hook steals in Ori's camp. Give us a sad B now, maybe.
Yeah, Dokla has a freeze on Fudge. Fudge says, fine. I'm just going to go back here and maybe take red. Yes. It looks like it's going to be tough for now. Holding nice and light there, as you were saying. Drake going over to Cloud9. We will focus on that. Ocean. All right, so just do it now, Crumbs. Is it Infernal?
Do it now.
Mountain?
Okay. Infernal.
Okay, cool. We got one.
I try to think of just the first one that pops up, and if I take too long, I'm just like,
never second
what
guess
was the
yourself.
first? What was the absolute first thing that came to mind?
Yeah.
And I think it was Infernal, although Mountain could have been the first stop, but it was an incomplete Mountain. But it might have been like Mount, and it's like, ah, that's not enough. That's not enough.
All right. Yeah, there's weird things that make you second guess yourself, like doing too many bubbles in a row on an SAT or something, and you're just like, that can't be 5 C's in a row.
Yep.
No
And
way. Let me change this one.
do you ever get trolled by the teacher that made
Yes.
and
A
personally
teacher got in
puts
trouble for
all
doing
of
that
them
on an
in
exam
one?
somewhere.
They got
Yeah.
in trouble for that?
Yeah. Somewhere.
Not
Because it just
legal.
messed with the students so bad. Anyways, 10 minutes into this one. See, like Cloud9 is kind of messing with TSM a little bit. Dokla, though, looking good. The builds that TSM comes online with are going to be looking good, but they have been able to tack on a few kills to evolve, which is somewhere we were looking for a lot of power. That lane to be won. Like I said, Dokla is a place to look for that win condition as he just rocks Fudge's world for a moment.
He has to
big
be
haymaker.
careful because there is a fat wave, and Wukong's clone or Cyclone is just so obnoxious when it comes to healing. It might as well come with a built-in summoner heal next to it if you can hit a champion, because it looked like Dokla could have taken an R and actually gone in, but I'm pretty sure Fudge would have ended up winning it.
Just clone out. You can just ult the clone on accident because you hit it real quick. Oh, man, I can see that happening. Back to lane here is Tomo and Diamond doing a bit of roaming to help keep map control for Nori, as he is also keeping himself busy. This is a back here, it looks like it. Maybe some attack speed on that Cutlass. They already finished the boots here for Ash. Lost is just going to stay and do Krugs, actually. And top lane, taking a lot of damage. I don't think he gets it. No. Next time in. That wave's going to double up, though, so he may have some time to the turret and mess with Fudge and enough HP to walk himself out with the Haymaker.
I'm surprised.
Oh, here we go, baby.
Yeah.
He's there! As if there was ever a question. You just redeemed both games that we missed.
Nice.
Great
2
job.
for 1 on this one.
Yeah. 3 for.
3 for 1? I got to go to the casino.
Actually, don't. Make sure you distance. 18.4 in the pocket of both teams. Who's using it better? Who's investing better, Crumbs?
Who is investing better? Let's see. What are we looking at the investment items? Right now, there is the coal on the side of Tomo, which is going to be pretty useful later on. So I actually think that C9 is investing better here in being able to play out a little bit slower and just get those dragons. Dragon investment is at an all-time high right now. It's just paying off to anybody that invests in it.
So
It
true.
literally almost never failed. So it's a huge move for C9 that TSM needs to get on.
Oh, I love the hooks Biofrost is looking for, but the minions are just grabbing him a little bit on that one. Unfortunate. And I think you're right. The investment is there, and they've been able to really just pressure down on it. I wonder if these Blade of the Ruined King finishes, or should I say Cutlass finishes, could be a good investment. Or is it just kind of like, you know, the bar goes up and maybe you put your faith in it and it really doesn't pay off. We'll see. Dokla obviously going to keep himself pretty healthy here. Is a redemption coming in from Palafox.
Wow.
Hey, thanks. Dokla's real happy that he saw that come over his shoulder, and now Winston may see that on the other side of the wall. He actually is hugging the defensive side now, and Dokla and Winston can get out safely. Nice calls there. The map was a bit too quiet, and that Vision Ward was able to catch out Cloud9 on the roam.
It's scary to see the Gragas there and still have the confidence to go for it. And you also see the bot lane, that base too. The Ashe Arrow doesn't even have to base. She could just chuck it out there and also deter the dive. So there's a lot that could go wrong there for for Cloud9 on that dive. But they know that if the game comes down to team fights, Wukong will have a very easy time dealing and peeling for his carries. The
yeah.
Irelia and Set have a terrible time when it comes to dealing with the Cyclone. Just guaranteed CC and Shred so that the Senna can deal with them. And you also have TK on top of it. So that's why I think the investment in just playing the slow game here, knowing that your comp out team fights, is a great choice for C9.
Yeah, and now you don't only get one ultimate for the low price of free. You get two, as we found. So hopefully you can get to the back line there.
I swear, that's how we should
lost.
buff champions. Buff every champion, just giving him 2 abilities. Just how Rumble has
A second.
2 harpoons, just give him 2.
Another, so he has 4 harpoons? Is that what you're saying?
He could have 4 harpoons. He could have 2 scrap shields. You could give Ash 2 stacks of volleys that can charge up, and you could just chuck them out whenever they're stacked together, like a little quiver.
Oh, it'd have to be in 3s, though, because also 3s are loved. Stacks
Make it 8.
Oh, my word. Palafox delivering that one from downtown, just amping it up ever so much. Flashed in there to get the extra damage as well. That was his personal flash, as he'll probably have 4 more to use. And now he gets back to lane to help farm out that. 162 to 131. You're going to expect the wave to get pushed in a bit and Evolve to be farming under the turret, but there's been a time when he was not there to be able to farm, and that's where we're seeing this discrepancy come in from. It's still dangerous in the fights. We have not seen any bit of grouping for Cloud9 that TSM's been able to work on, that TSM's been able to collapse Dokla, Evolved, and the rest of the team. The one time we did, they had Tomo and Diamond under the turret, and it looked great. And it looks like C9 is avoiding that all the time now.
They don't want to give those opportunities to a composition that can snowball really quickly. So playing slowly and making sure that the Senna and Tahm Kench are pushing the lane is a good way to making sure that you don't actually die to the Ashe, because you have Cleanse on Tahm Kench and Devour for getting Senna out. But this could be a chance. They are overextended. He dodges out.
They went for Diamond, the right choice, as they have the denial from him. 2 teleports coming in. Now it's going to be Fudge and Dokla. They look for each other like, what's the fight? Which one who goes first? And they just decide to go right onto each other. You gotta love it. There comes the Vanguard's edge. Fudge is trying to get himself out with second Cyclone. Great grab coming in. No clone there as he's forced to flash out. And the Paddle Star just missing from max range. It would have been. Diamond finally goes down. He was the target. And they finalize their target. There's the Gragas we've been talking about to displace the rest of the fight. And it's TSM coming up with a wombo combo of 5 as they are able to collapse again on the bot lane of Cloud9.
First to the play, really paying off there for TSM. They looked for the targets, but despite the arrow not hitting, the fact that everybody knew the play was happening first meant they were going to have more people at the fight before C9, and that's exactly what they counted on. So let's see how it all starts off, because you've got Gragas in the river moving down. Yes, arrow misses, but Bio does a good job in immediately kiting back and just trying to buy time. You got the TP there, but Irelia is already well on her way. She buys time selling the Holy Bear, and Zoe also can't make it in. So right now, you see the map, 5 people from TSM are already in this fight. It is only now where C9 has 4, now 5 with Palafox being involved, and it is no surprise they've lost it. And the icing on the cake here is where Winston flashes to ult Palafox into the Irelia stun and into the hook.
That was right over the Sky Splitter as well. Kind of, you know, oh, you're safe. Palafox, you'll have the exit, with Winston flashing that. Easy cask in. Really well played all around. TSM again executing super clean on these fights once they get in. Fudge actually gave the facebreaker over to Dokla when he bottom-sided on going over to help Diamond, so that got unfortunate real quick, and TSM saw the opportunities open up. 203 for Dokla on the top side. 2-2-3 in the mid lane for Evolve. That was 0-2 and some assists. It was 0-2-1 maybe, 0-2-0, but again, we said, you mentioned it earlier, we have seen the Aurelias come back in games, mainly EU, and we're seeing it here again once the fight phase has started.
They are now in the 1-3-1 phase, which is what we feared, or at least what C9 was fearing in the strength of these champions. The triple blade of the Ruined
The blade
King.
of the Ruined Kings here for TSM.
Lots of kings have been ruined to make this TS team come.
See how far they can push with this. And see how many they stick together, right?
Wait a minute. Hang on. Is it
I'm hanging.
many kings, or is it one king that had a lot of blades?
Did it come from a chair? Because that'll answer a lot.
Yes, from the chair.
There you go. I definitely called the throne a chair, but it works. You get it. Biofrost, Zeke's convergence there, a little bit more utility to help synergize with the team and complement what they're trying to do. And TSM has pretty big, the first big goal discrepancy we've seen here in the game now as they push themselves up to just about 32.5 and about 3,000 gold lead as things tick over. The kills haven't been coming in as fast as I thought, which with as much back and forth and everybody kind of fighting in mid, it really held off for a bit. And I think our next one's going to be in a few minutes for this Drake. Mid pressure with Rift, yes, in the hands of Inori, so we may see this come out.
TSM's best plays thus far have been around the bottom lane, so
absolutely
might have to do with Bio and Lost being vocal there. It's a lot easier to execute with those than the risk that you take with the solo lanes that are so explosive right now. So if the fight breaks out, which it will soon, it probably is, again, another look in through the bot laners before the Dragon setup. It's what TSM used to their advantage in that last fight. Not, you know, you've got 3 phases of fights. You fight the Dragon, you fight the setup, or you fight before the setup. So the pre-setup fight, which is where they struck earlier, and that is usually what it means to be really assertive. It's just, you're not even giving the enemy time to base and think about their setup. You're just going for the fight whenever you see an advantage to take it. And now that there's a minute before the Dragon, TSM is definitely in that mode. A fight win here will net them the objective.
And you got to expect Evolve's mentality to be in a much better place. He was still in the game even at 0-2, but knowing that Palafox took your Zoe and then started to get help just to take you down, you have a vendetta there, and he is going to fight back. So feeling good here to start this off. Also has Aegis and a Scepter for himself, as Rift Herald will be thrown mid. And have to just be killed off quick, but that will give Cloud9 pressure to take out some of these wards and figure out what's happening in the river before this fight.
TSM still have some time, though. 30 seconds that Irelia could be whacking away at the top turret. Set will base because he's in danger. Okay, fine to auto attack, so she could definitely take this, and it doesn't look like Fudge is well on his way to stop it just yet. She can go into Fog of War and look for an opportunity to TP in here, and that makes me think that TSM want to fight this. Otherwise, Irelia would have stuck around or walked down.
Making sure she can get that clean TP off. Looking for where that fight could go. Look at this TP up by the Blast Cone. Nicely
that's
placed.
A good one.
Nicely placed deep in. That mid turret's still up, so it'd be Palafox. That's going to be the TP they're going on. They're going to see it coming in now. Nori's going to have to get their first Blast Cone's hit immediately in a vault. Flawless Duet behind, so he can go forward. And that's going to be the Senna ultimate coming across the team to give a little bit of utility. Nori now in the middle of the pit. It's going to be a big fight in the back. Evolved is just trying to help his team here. He's played such deterrent. Vanguard's Edge to stop the rest of the team. Flawless Duet to stop the rest of Cloud9. And he's able to help the team come up with an amazing teleport.
That was really close. It looked like they were throwing Evolve back from the Blast Cone, but he's still just able to flash in. They commit everything for the Zoe, and now the TP from Set secures this play. TSM almost lost Evolve. Had Tomo actually hit Irelia with the W on the backside, they would have been able to get another kill, and this would have been a very different fight. Instead, Inori just dies by himself, and now TSM is really on track to run away with a good lead here. There's no healing reduction just yet, and these champions are just stacking healing at this point.
Look at Blade of the Rune Kings on nearly the same cooldown, and rightly so, lost a little bit later since he was farther away, but that must be hair-raising to just be slowed after slowed and the percent damage following up. Let's see it here again.
The hero is whoever placed that ward in the first place. It's
absolutely
such a good call that you spotted.
Never forget the assister.
And then, yeah, Gragas dies looking for that play. That's fine. And then here's where Tomo misses out on that W. Oh, just huge. I think it might have actually been the Irelia ultimate that pushed.
Oh, he didn't get enough distance right before he shot it.
Yeah, so that might have actually been it. Just barely living.
The plays that make it happen coming out from TSM. Now Death Dance quickly finished up. These games feel so good, Crumbs. When you finish an item, you get into a fight, and you come back with another one. You're ready to fight again. It's not one of those, oh, I bought a BF sword. I really want to get in the lane and test this and auto him. You're like, no. Full on, dogpile the next fight. That's exactly the comp TSM has, and probably find a hawk shot followed by an arrow to get it going.
And it feels especially great when you're doing this advantage of base, get a new item, base, new item on bruisers. Bruisers that are just able to get in and take advantage of the flashes that have been blown in the last fight. And because there's still no healing reduction here, I mean, there's a lot of healing that's going to be coming out of TSM side. I mean, the fights aren't necessarily that bursty from C9 side, but you already have the double conquerors. You've got passives healing. You've got itemization healing. It's going to start to add up.
Yep. Rangers focus on to crush this minion wave down, and it's going to be Baron Vision to come up here from TSM as they try to also control what's going on at mid. A little too early to tempt anyone at that Baron, but making sure that no one is sneaking it is top priority. Bot side in 2.5 minutes for an Infernal Drake, which has started us off into what would be our Soul. And the next team to get a Drake will put it on Soul Point. That's what I was looking for, Crumbs. I want to see this game go back and forth the whole time. And Biofrost says, hey, what's up? How's it going? To Nori for a second as he tags down some damage to TSM.
Okay, a little bit of a Volibear testing his abilities there.
There's a damage test for you.
All right, does my Q still work? Yep, we're good. It's like a cat scratching a post. Just got to make sure those claws work. And Nori, his buttons are still fine, but his itemization will help him out a bit here. That Frozen Heart actually is going to pay off against these heavy attack speed reliant carries on the side of TSM. But they're so far ahead now that the armor itemization isn't that big of a deal just yet. It will be later into the game, but at this point, not so much. Not a lot of armor on the side of C9.
Basically just HP getting shredded right now from TSM. Flawless Duet and about all of TSM Evolve's health bar coming in from the paddle star there. Dodges out in the last one that was supposed to be short range. Couldn't keep himself alive. Oh my god, he goes down at the last moment from more sparkles. I mean, glitter just gets everywhere. It's a damn craft supply. And here we go, more fights coming in. Biofrost coming in with a hook, but it looks like he may be dead to rights as well. In an unfortunate fight that a sliver of health and Evolve being alive would have quickly gone the other way in favor of TSM in a triumph heal, but Cloud9 bite back just as hard.
Evolve thought he was so strong there, and he was, rightfully. He almost 1v2'd that, but C9 was able to collapse so quickly. You've got the Tom Kench, Senna ultimate to help out. There is a threat of...
Brokla!
No, he's just going to die. Yeah,
Brokla going in. Hoping that volley from Lost would basically level everybody, but he also gave over 150 gold bounty there plus.
That's just like somebody forgot the smaller pinata. It's like, yeah, here you go, just get another one here.
Death's Dance helping out Evolve here so much, but not enough.
And he gets a little minions healing too, and then here at the very end, watch the bubble from Palaf. I mean, how does that even connect there to hit the Aurelia?
You ask a lot. It's Zoe. Yeah, it was a really nice hook trying to follow that. Unfortunate. You always feel like you're hitting the sickest hooks when you die as the wreck. I swear. It's terrible. It's terrible. It's like Lee Sin taking a Q. You feel great, and I guess it overrides the failure. It's 45.5 as we're evened up. Last time I looked at the gold crumbs, there was a gold discrepancy, but no longer. C9 grabs a bit for themselves, but it's just pocket change at this point, this late in the game. Is 28 minutes coming up on your clock. And TSM was not able to collapse on that fight like they started in their favor. They ended in their favor. That one was just Evolved getting placed out of position by C9. So I feel like crumbs are still a way for TSM to turn this, but C9, they do not make it easy once they have the lead.
And once they have the Baron, it gets even harder because Ashe is the main wave clear here. So everywhere she is where C9 is going to try to avoid. They'll crash the wave and rotate down because the Aurelia is here. So her wave clear, a lot worse, turns into a tier 2. Might turn into a tier 3 there, depending on how C9 wants to push this out and if Palafox can actually hit some sick bubbles. Instead, They're going to be maybe thinking about a tier 2 while Ash is back, and
Get
they're
'em.
sure to get it.
Turret going down mid. And they rush through. Look at Fudge standing there. Gotta love it when Wukong's just stop. They just stop menacingly, and you're like, is he close to me? I think I felt him! And then he just walks in the normal spot, and you're like, oh, it wasn't him. It wasn't him. Dokla here on the top side. He won't go for the last few. Knows they've already backed, and not enough vision clearing out of TSM's jungle to know C9 is still hanging around. Oh, that was close. Whew. Death's Dance now for Lost. So they're going to start lasting a bit longer in these fights. We will see.
They're copying each other's itemization here, just making sure they all bought the same brand, trying to make sure that if it works for one, it'll work for the rest. So, unfortunately, Dokla's not going to go for a Death Dance here. He's going to go for a Dead Man's Plate.
Yeah.
So, just trying to actually fight instead of stay alive.
He will still do the Death's Dance, just not with a Death's Dance. Just a little bit quicker. There it is. There it is. But yeah, it looks like there was a sale on them today. Fudge, Evolve, Lost. We got a Groupon going in on this one. Tomo cleaning up on red buff. He'll get himself into lane. Rabadon's over to Palafox. Is the glass cannon. Love to see it. Not like you're going to build any other way when you're trying to paddle start people from 1 million to 0. But she can. And we'll see if Palafox can get himself into those positions. Now that C9 has so much Fog of War, that becomes so much scarier to think that this trouble bubble comes over the wall and that's your life.
Trouble bubble. Then you also have the Senna that can follow up. Senna
I don't
with
even
the
want to
Zoe
add on. I don't think you need to.
is really scary, believe it or not.
Yeah,
At least I feel kind of fearful around the Senna that can have a ton of range and then just follow up on everything. Evolved, that's already 3 autos there, and now it doesn't look like much because Senna's autos look somewhat odd, but in the middle of a fight, you combo those with a Q, and it
Those are
adds up.
high-class roots, too. Those are Louis V.
World
roots.
class.
World high class. Can't get any higher. Like I said, this game's going to 12. Might even hit 13, 14, or 15. And I'll still keep going.
I'm not ready.
I'll keep going. Okay. Looking at this second tier on top side, and I think Cloud9 really able to finish this one off. They're kind of just poised and ready to see if TSM will even attempt defending this. And I think it's all going to be for the second tier. They use Diamond right away with a bit of his gray health if they need to, cycling that turret damage onto the minions. The method to the madness continues to play out here for Cloud9. A bit of falling to the back foot in the early game. Tomo and Diamond were tagged on by TSM over and over, but C9 was controlling the rest of the map more so and knew that they could take a lot of the fights in the mid game.
They know they have to take this one last fight potential.
One last.
They can win one more. The game is definitely going to be theirs. You can get the Infernal Soul for a Zoe Senna, which is disgusting, and it'll also set you up for a Baron. So both objectives are up for grabs depending on how strong this team fight win is. So it's also an opportunity for TSM. If they can win it out here, they will get both of those objectives. Get that triple Infernal, potentially a 4 Infernal Soul stack.
Very true.
Huge, but it has to be with a flank again. That's how they won the last one. There are only one ward. That lone blue buff ward is what Evolved is looking for. He's in the base, just waiting. When TSM gets better vision of what C9 is planning, they'll TP him in.
Palafox threw a bubble. I think they know that may have come over the wall. Oh, there's the Hawk shot. They have a sweeper. How have they not cleared behind them just yet or used that within the fight area? Dokla going on the backside. That may be a temp now coming in for the Evolve, but they're going to be fighting on the ward he wants to go to. The only one he leaves or has now is in the middle, and I don't think they can execute onto this. Evolve's going to hold off, and they may have just lost the objective control over the Drake without having to clear. Now they're clearing it late on the fight, and they're going to get this one. Evolve now having to run out of base. And we talked about it before, Crumbs. Cloud9, objective control, whether it's Drakes, Souls, Barons, they are on point and continue to do it throughout this game in their second meeting here with TSM. Now going on to Dokla towards the top side. Cyclone for the second time going on to him. And Big Dokla goes down finally on this set for a second time. Remember, the last time he went down was just a few minutes ago. That was his bounty, and everything just seems to be domino effects from there on out from what the team of TSM was trying to do.
They don't need Baron. They can end the game here, disabling the turrets and looking for the victory.
TSM really solidifying why they should be in that first place spot, bringing themselves back up. Diamond said they'd be smurfing on them as they came into the season. It only took a little bit to find where the smurf factor was. Oh, you.
No!
Inhibitor comes up, and they're going to be taking the inhibitor. And then they're going to win the game. As it's still 30-second death timers on this one. Crumbs, it had to be a banger. It had to have an interesting ending, and it did. But that's all they wrote. Cloud9 takes down TSM to take first place still.
It wasn't easy, though, because TSM gave them a good run for their money. I like this look out of TSM better than the first time they fought. That dive bottom lane was amazing. And then
that looked
the TP
great.
Fight was great. They had a lot of good plays. It was that one throw, that one misplay around the top side Krugs where Revolve died and it snowballed into a Baron. You just cannot afford to lose those fights when your composition doesn't have a standard mid laner. It's what happened, and C9 just capitalized and never looked back.
And I think that point altogether, and not to pinpoint any player, this is about the situation, is why it's so difficult to play against teams like TSM and C9, is that was so back and forth. You have a lead, but one mistake is all you have against this team. Whereas sometimes you build up a bit of a lead and you have some room to work with, but C9 knows how to take that lead and work with it right away, and that's so scary to play against.
It's really scary to know that you have just one misstep and it's done, right? Like, it is a very high
You don't want to be that one person.
It's everybody. We'll fault it on everybody because you don't know what they're going for.
Exactly.
They're all around Baron. A lot of them tried to make it, and they had good itemization. So I think they got caught off guard by how quickly TK and Senna can help a fight.
For sure. Exactly. It could have been anyone, and that's the danger of playing against these teams is you cannot leave that window open. So right now we're going to be stepping away, but after a 3-minute break, I'll be talking to C9's Diamond. So don't go anywhere. Very shiny. Welcome back to the Verizon post-game interview. I am joined by Diamond, first place Diamond after they take down TSM. Congratulations to Cloud9. Hey, man, how you been? And thoughts about today's game?
I've been pretty good. I mean, having a lot of fun playing League of Legends lately, and I got to play my favorite champion, Tom Kench today, Mr. Frogman. And I just cruised by and pressed W on my carries, and great time.
I'm glad you bring this up. I'll skip my other question and go right to Tom Kench duty. This was actually coming from Crumbs. I'm looking at your plays this split, and he is not on there yet. So how excited were you to get to play Tom today?
Oh, I was ecstatic. It was great. I was so excited in the champ select. As soon as we hovered and we talked about Mr. Frogman, I could not believe it.
So obviously, on a slightly serious note, playing those, is it still something you want to make plays on, try to make plays on? Do you feel like it fits your play style? Because you can still do it at a high level.
Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. You pick Mr. Frogman and you protect your AD carry, and if that's the way you win the game, that's what you gotta do. And I mean, I can still play Tom Kench.
Hell
I
yeah,
had to
man.
learn him, but I would much rather play Thresh and Blitzcrank and
Absolutely.
stuff. But that's not how League of Legends is played nowadays, unfortunately.
For sure. Well, I'm sure the fans and everybody else would love to see you on those playmakers as well. So what was kind of its first place matchup against TSM? What was the idea coming into today's game? And talk to me about what you guys were thinking as the bot lane came to be early game.
Oh yeah, my top laner and mid laner didn't tell me that they can double TP on me at level 3, so FF. But it was fine. The comms in the game was like, yeah, it's fine, don't worry about it. Yeah, I'll just chill my tower, no worries.
Okay.
Just let me know next time. The top lane mid TP
And
at
was it,
9
what was
9:50 in the chat.
the what was the threat did you feel from TSM coming in, picks and bans? What did you more prepare for to make sure they wouldn't be able to do in game?
They actually entered the draft super hard. At least like the bans. We didn't expect them to ban like that. We like a lot of the picks were like,
Okay.
really? That's we were just we were really happy with the draft, at least for sure. And I feel like a team that, because we have a pretty like expected way to play. I think we play pretty much always the same way or similar to, even though we have different styles. But they didn't really draft according to how we play, so we're a bit confused.
Interesting. Yeah, because it did seem like at a point in the game, C9 just kind of turned it on once again. You had full control. Final question to you, Diamond, before you head out. What are you doing to improve? Who you watching to improve, whether it's in different regions or whatnot, so your fans can know and other people can check out what you're watching?
Uh, I I mean I try to take I just try to look at pretty much everyone what they're doing. I mean, if someone is doing well, like no matter the region, they're doing something right usually, and you can take everything with a grain of salt. And
Hmm.
I've been watching a lot of Carrier play. I think he's really talented. Like the way he plays is like me when I just started playing, kind of like he's more like he's just not scared to do anything. I think that's how he's being pushed right now, and I really enjoy watching people play like him. And he's very talented. It's a lot of joy to watch him play.
Very cool. Well, Diamond, thank you so much for joining us, man. It was a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Best of luck in the rest of the split. Everybody, we're going to be stepping away now, but after we take a break, Pastry and Comes will be bringing you Immortals Academy versus 100 Thieves Academy. Don't go anywhere. Diamond, you can.